Now everybody has one of these, I'm sure. Somebody's put it in the dishwasher and you got all this nice black contamination from the heat in the dishwasher and also the dishwashing detergent that was used. Okay, so silver is pretty easy to do. We're not going to pre-soak this thing. We're just going to take a little 2x2 inch cloth that we cut up, terry cloth, and we're just going to put a little bit of metal polish on there. And we're going to lightly just rub over that. We could also pre-soak this, it's your option. Just keep in mind, when we're pre-soaking this, it's a one-time affair. You're not going to go ahead and repeat this procedure every time you come across an article that's been tarnished or has a little bit of oxidation on it, because the product works so quickly. And for demonstration purposes, we'll go ahead and polish this one up without pre-soaking it. Now, what I said before was we want to go one direction. Because if it's a tarnishable, soft-based alloy or copper or pewter or brass, at least when we're going one direction, the lines of buffing motion are going to go one direction. If you do the circular, it's going to kind of give it a cloudy Scotch-Brite effect. So you could go ahead and go right at it, or you could go ahead and let it pre-soak. We're just pre-soaking it just for the purpose of showing the dramatic change that the pre-soaking method can entail. So we're coming around here. Hitting that black area up in there. And I'm going to change over to a baby diaper, because silver is somewhat on the softer alloys. And we could do this whole piece, but we're only going to do a couple sections of it for time constraints. Now you can buff it off with another baby diaper. Or you can come with your microfiber cloth, and this is really important to do on brass panels, copper panels, and we fold it all up just like we did with our previous preservative rag. So that way when we get dirt, we have all different kinds of little areas to go ahead and keep a clean rag on it. And what the microfiber cloth does is actually gives it a high sheen, and it removes any of the residue that could get sucked into your tarnishables. Because these guys right here, they suck in like a sponge. So if you just use a regular terry cloth to do a high buff, this is much more effective. And that will be demonstrated on the next segment when we actually remove the pre-soaking. Toothbrush. Because we have these little handles with all these little areas that we can't get at with a rag, I like to pre-soak these things and let them sit and let the product go ahead and do the work. Just kind of work that product in. You can see it turning colors from the oxidation of the silver. And you could also leave that tarnish in. It gives it like a patina effect. It gives it a little bit of three-dimensional accents. But the longer you let the soak-in method work, the more of that stuff you'll be able to remove. This basically highlights the depth of your engraving marks, which is called an antique effect. It's really nice. So if we spent some time soaking and toothbrushing, that would come all out completely silver. Come back and take a dry buff. Everything done with the metal polish is done in a wet state. And if you're soaking and it gets behind you, that's okay, just re-wet it, but what goes on wet comes off wet. So that way you don't have the mess of like Brassos or Never Dulls or First Impressions where you're actually letting the product dry and then you're rubbing it off and you get all this white powder dust on the bottom. And you also won't get any of the residue left in between all the crevices. So what you do wet, you remove wet. That's key. And since we have our system of rags that we fold up, anytime you use the product in these containers, you only dip your rag in once. Wring it out. So any leftover product that you have can immediately go right back in the same container it came from. Now when I was doing the stainless steel section before, I used a little bit of a half bottle, so I didn't use a full bottle. And those were off the demonstration table. So if that was confusing, that's the reason why. Because I knew I'd be doing a whole lot of samples, so I just used more product, filled it up, rinsed it out. Everything that's left over afterwards goes right back in your bottle because it's clean. It's not contaminated. There's no cross-contamination involved. And so that's how we go ahead and maintain our product levels and our savings. We're not wasting it. We're not throwing it away. We're not taking a bottle and just kind of haphazardly using it. Everything is systematized, so everything is effectively used, and we maintain our savings and cost effectiveness. So something like that, you could pre-soak and won't have to do any rubbing at all, or you could go ahead and, go with it right from the get-go, right out of the bottle. In the next segment, we'll go ahead and be removing this stuff and showing you the drastic results.